What's the creepiest thing a member of your family has ever said? My little sister, toddler at the time, needed to have a small surgery. They were at the check-in with the doctor, and she was playing with toys. During a break in the adults' conversation, they heard my sister have one doll say to the other, "This is my dad. He hits re all the time." My dad did not hit us. The doctor had to ask a few very awkward questions to get it sorted. I had an uncle buy me silk underwear for my 16th birthday, and when I opened it said, "You should try it on right now." I was babysitting my nephew overnight and he told me there was people on the stairs. Welp, as an uncle it really sucks coming into this thread. Welcome to the appalling Uncle Olympics. I used to have a horrible recurring dream about an alien abduction while camping. Sometimes I would wake up in a light sweat. Sometimes I'd jump out of bed into the corner of the room until I came to my senses. No, I am not an abductee. It's just a bad nightmare. So, my kid brother used to wake up and come to my room in the middle of the night to sleep there. One night I wake up from that nightmare and he's just standing there at the edge of my bed. I nearly jumped out of my skin. He looks right through me and says, "They're coming for you too." Then he turned and walked back to his room. I didn't go back to sleep that night. My mom would always remind us before big family gatherings, "Don't go sit on Uncle Vern's lap. Don't be alone with him either. He has a history." As a kid I was like, wow, that's kinda scary. As an adult with kids my question is, why the fuck was this dude invited back? Quote, "God, I'm so sorry everyone had to deal with this. I was expecting ghost stories or weird shit kids say." My nephew, who is several years older than me, called me and told me these utterly horrific stories of things he was forced to do in Afghanistan, and he was clearly drunk and crying. I was like 17 and had no idea what to do, as he talked about having to kill a little boy because he was shooting street thurn. Just all kinds of horrors of war. It stuck with me for years. Utterly haunting. A couple of years ago I found out none of it ever happened. He was a paper pusher because he injured his knee playing basketball. Was going through a divorce. I was staying with my sister. I was sleeping on the floor in her spare room. I woke up and she was standing over me with a knife in her hand. She said, "It awakes." Quote, I replied, What is going on?" She blinked and turned and walked away. I began to look for a different place to stay after I locked the room's door and stayed up for the rest of the night. She struggles with paranoid schizophrenia. When my son was 3, his mom had to send him to a timeout for some reason. He didn't want to and threw a fit, so I reiterated he had to go and be by himself till he could behave. He started storming away, then turned, walked close to me, and hissed, actual hiss, like a villain, "They'll never find you." He's 12 now and he doesn't remember it. But when I told him about it he just nodded and said, "Yeah. That sounds like something I would say." My kid looked into the dining room at night, light off, and said, "Who's that guy with the red eyes?" Freaked me the fuck out. Left lights on for weeks after that. My then 3-year-old daughter, wearing a nightgown, sleepwalking into the middle of the dark playroom, and just standing there until I looked up from my chair in an adjacent room and, squinting into the shadows, asked her what she was doing awake. "Shish," she whispered, putting her finger to her lips. "Don't wake up the toys." Quote, then she turned around and silently padded off into the darkness. Back to her room. A friend was staying at my house. Was maybe 13 at the time. And we were playing SNES in the middle of the night when my morn came down the stairs and asked, "Why are there Nintendo characters running around on top of the fridge?" She looked genuinely mortified. She had a cold and turns out she didn't bother to dose out her codeine cough syrup and was tripping. Balls. Way back when my then 3-year-old looked up from playing with whatever he was playing with and kindly informed me that the puppet master controls all the dead children. Then went back to their game. Edit. I was later told by my older kids that it was Five Nights at Freddy's related. Eased my mind slightly.